Hey everybody, I'm Nicholas Skinner with Skinner Games, and you're here for another episode of Game Reviews in 5 minutes or less. This time, we'll be talking about a book that's just about to go into Kickstarter, or might by the time this video is released, by Bloat Games, and it is called Dark Places and Demogorgons. Now, Dark Places and Demogorgons takes you back to the 80s teen movies. And that's right, but not just normal teen movies, the dark ones. So if you like Watcher in the Woods, Gremlins, The Lost Boys, Weird Science, or even the new Stranger Things that's been released on Netflix recently, you're gonna like this game. What the authors Eric Bloat and Josh Palmer have done is taken the old fantasy veneer, removed that, and added a more modern take on the rules, as well as to bring up the classes to reflect the 80s pop culture. They also added a lot of the things in that make 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons interesting. So you get this nice mix and balance between the 1970s edition and what's happening now. For instance, in the old school edition, you had a number of base classes and that was kind of it. I mean, you had your standards, your fighter, your cleric, your monk, but with Dark Places and Demogorgons, you get 5 basic classes, but each of them have 3 subclasses in the core book. So these classes are the Brain, the Athlete, the Outsider, a Popular Person, and a Rebel. And each of these, as I said, has 3 subclasses. The Kid Scientist, the Nerd, the Geek. The Athlete has the Jock, the Extreme Athlete, and the Karate Kid. The Outsider gets a Breakdancer, a Goth, and a Metalhead. The Popular People get Preppies, the Princess, and the Teen Heartthrob. And the Rebel gets the Bully, the Hood, and the Punk Rocker. The saving throws are also quite a bit different from what we're used to seeing. These saves come in the fashion of Courage, Critical Injury, Death, Mental, and Poison. Courage is used when encountering a new kind of crazy monster. The DC is set by a terror stat within the creature's statistics block. If you fail this save, there is a terror table that you roll on to see what happens to you. Luckily, you only have to make this roll once per creature type. So if you meet one werewolf, you make your courage save. If you make your save the first time, you don't have to worry about making a secondary courage save against the same monster type. However, if you fail, you're going to have a bit of a tough time with that second one. Now, an interesting addition to the game is a table of 100 randomly generated backgrounds. Some of them are your parents work for the government. You have an annoying brother or sister that follows you around, or one that's older than you and picks on you all the time. Or you have irrational fears of a number of different things. You could also have your parents be gone periodically, and there being enough money stowed underneath a magnet on the fridge. You could also be a foreign exchange student, or an immigrant from a number of different countries, some of them communist. So there's a lot of diversity to be had in this game to make really interesting characters to go running around in an 80s setting and jacking stuff up. Skills have also been updated to reflect this new modern setting, like mathematics and mechanics and driving. There are also 3 combat skills that you can invest in that add to your melee fighting. You have brawlers, martial artists, and wrestlers. You can only pick one though, because they add to your statistics in a particular way and influence the way that your melee combat works. Another fun thing that you find in this book, which isn't really rules oriented, but is kind of fun for flavor text, is this table, the 80s versus today. So it'll give some fun and interesting comparisons. Large box TVs, 4K ultra flat screen TVs. Checkout lines versus U-scans. Credit card carbon ka-chunk machines, Tap, Apple Pay, and chip reader credit cards. The tape recorder answering machines versus voicemail. Snail mail versus email. Now the one thing I like to see updated in this table is regular jeans versus skinny jeans. Dude, jeans in the 80s were not regular. Acid wash jeans? No. Those should never make a comeback. And I know they are. I'm looking at you guys. Don't bring them back. The Game Master section goes over the typical things that you would find in a Dungeons & Dragons game, describing traps, pacing of the game, combat, movement, firearms and explosives, and it gives you advice on how to incorporate the paranormal, the supernatural, and magic within your game. It also gives you some rules for psionics, so for those characters who want to play 11, for example, and it gives you 3 additional subclasses to incorporate the psionics into the system. You get a short bestiary in this book, and it addresses things like the Chupacabra, Beastmen, werewolves, the Mothman, frog people. Also your standards, your guard, your policemen, your bullies, things like that. Boogeymans, wargs, wights. Now, one very useful item that they also give is an NPC generator. So it's a series of tables to determine the gender, the age, the abilities of a quick NPC so that you can throw out your villain or a low-level villain to be able to oppose your party. relatively easily. So if you find this review helpful, check out Dark Places Demogorgons in the link below. And I highly suggest that you back this game. It's a fantastic recall to 80s gaming, and it's going to be a lot of fun at the table. Eventually, we'll get to playing it on our other show, Retro Role Playing, and maybe we can do a sort of generational thing between our Dark Age Cthulhu, our Cthulhu hack, and Dark Places and Demogorgons. So great job to Bloat Games, and thank you for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. And as always, happy gaming!